Hey everyone, welcome to Curveball. It is Heather Campbell, and I'm joined today by Hannah Talbot. And I've been looking forward to this interview for a long time because Hannah is a mindfulness and meditation teacher. And you would just expect her, you can see her background, you see how casual, she's all Zen vibes and soft-spoken wisdom. But in reality, she's wearing more of a life of the party, losing her voice while singing karaoke all night kind of energy. And that's exactly her curveball. For years, she felt pulled between the quiet, polished image of a healer and the wild, joyful side of herself that craves music. I am right there with you. You crave music, movement, and full volume fun. It wasn't burnout or breakdown that threw you off course. It was the realization that if you didn't let yourself be fully yourself on the dance floor and on the meditation cushion, you were only really half alive. Now, as the founder of Anamkara, how did I do?
Pretty
Anamkara
good.
Healing Center. Hannah leads somatic energy work, mindfulness, and play. What? For grown-ups? That's amazing. She's teaching people to reconnect with their bodies, not just through stillness, but through joy. Hannah, welcome to Curveball. So I want to start with that party. You sing, you dance, you lost your voice. What does that version of joy unlock for you, that meditation alone? Like you're just like, meditation, you're too quiet for me.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. And really that's how I kind of found my way into this work is I was trying to do traditional meditation and mindfulness. And I was terrible at it, and was trying to find a teacher to guide me. And there wasn't anybody that I was matching up with that, didn't require
when
me
you
to
say
fit into a
terrible,
box.
like how can you be terrible at meditating? Like
Right?
how did that show up for you? Yeah. I think
Well,
it's so funny when we judge ourselves for being bad meditators. Like,
it is. Well, now,
yeah.
10 years later, I'm like, what a funny concept to even have. When people say that, I heard somebody say that asking your brain to stop thinking is like asking your heart to stop beating.
Right. Yeah.
It's not, number one, impossible. And number two, you would be dead.
Yes.
So it's not possible. But I just thought, oh, I have such a busy brain. I'm so busy. I want to move. I can't sit still. And so I felt like I'm no good at this. I'm doomed to be stressed and kind of angsty because I don't fit in the box. And so I definitely studied traditional meditation and went so far as to do 10-day silent meditation retreat. And honestly,
what was that like?
Well,
I've been to places where they have silent breakfast, and I'm not joking. I get asked to leave every single breakfast because I'm
Heather,
just like,
you can't be here anymore. Take you. Yeah.
Like,
well,
no,
I actually loved the social experiment of being in community silently, like you're saying, like going to the buffet line and eating and having to interact with each other without words was pretty interesting. But the sitting still and just meditating for anywhere from 10 to 14 hours a day, I actually came out of there with more anxiety than I've ever had in my life. I don't even know if I really knew what real anxiety was until I got out of that place.
That's hilarious. Like, I don't mean to laugh at that, but
no, but it's true because, and here's why, Heather.
Right?
And here's why, because, and I think that this is why so many people resist the word meditation or resist sitting down in stillness is because for so many of us, our bodies are still holding a lot of trauma and it does not feel safe to sit still. It doesn't feel safe to close your eyes and go into silence and not be in control.
Okay. Wait.
Exactly.
Wait. Please say that again, because that is something I've never, ever even heard before as a concept.
Yeah.
So please say it again.
And it seems crazy, right? Because what do you mean? You're sitting in stillness with yourself. It's supposed to be Zen. And that's what I was looking for, right? I wanted to look like the picture that I saw, of the woman meditating in New York City in the middle of the street. Like, I want to be that Zen. And for me, what I found was that being in silence and stillness triggered all of this unmet trauma. And so I was feeling more anxious, more scared, more unsafe in the silence and the stillness, because that's the last place I want to be.
Right. And then feeling
like
it, right? Like you stay busy. Yeah.
That's what it felt like. When I left that place, I felt like I couldn't, and we're talking the most beautiful, serene place, deer are walking, and I was completely safe. But my body's reaction, my mind was telling me, you're good, just breathe, go to that place that they're telling you, find the elevation and go past the thoughts and just feel. And I could not, it just triggered.
Are you in the golden orb of light or just standing next to it? Get in it.
Yeah. And my body was like, we're trapped in a closet. So it to me really was like, okay, there's gotta be a different way to integrate the wisdom, the beauty of stillness and contemplative meditation and so many different types of meditation, right? But it often looks like closing your eyes and being quiet. And so is that the only way to mindfulness? Is that the only way to Zen? And I started 10 years ago. And so I do think that we're hearing that word somatic more, and we can talk about what that is. But when I started integrating my body into the practice and not trying to quiet my mind and nothing else, that's when things started unlocking, right? Because now we're actually using the whole self, mind and body. And then I can access whatever you want to call it, but spirit, soul, your essence, your true self. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I just want to, I want to, because I practice a kind of yoga called hot yoga, and they call it like a moving meditation.
Yep.
And the idea is that you're moving and you're in an unbelievably uncomfortable situation. You're balancing, but you're also in a room that's like 45% humidity and 106 degrees. So it's like, and the whole idea is that to teach you to continue to breathe, even when things are hard or uncertain. Like it really teaches, I think, obviously you get very fit doing it, but I really like it because I learned how to breathe.
And that's how I got my way into this work, was through yoga first. And then I tried, which worked for me, because like you're saying, there was movement, there was breathing. I'm interacting. I'm involved.
I'm completely present right now. Like I'm not thinking about.
But you're very in your body, right? And so
what does meditation? Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What does meditation look like for you now? Are you actually moving around? What is it?
So for us at Anamkara, so we teach 30-minute mindfulness classes most days of the week. We pare back our schedule for summer, but beef it up in the fall and winter and spring. But 30-minute classes, and those all look a little different because not everybody has the same somatic triggers that I do. A lot of people love to sit in stillness and contemplative meditation. And when my body has done some movement, or I've done some sort of, writing or something tangible, I can get into that stillness. So what I like to do is my classes, I have lots of different teachers who teach at Anamkara, but my classes include a little bit of coaching, some sort of kind of inspiration, something for you to think about, connect to, something that you can really relate to. And then usually some sort of journaling prompt, you can think about it or write, but writing is therapeutic, and we can go into all of, the reasons why it helps. But then we do a meditation or a mindfulness, just a pause. And so it's usually about 5 to 10 minutes. And then that might include some movement. It might include some breath work. Often, it's visual instead of just sitting in silence, but I do add some moments of stillness as like pure silence as well. But for me, again, I like to give my brain something to do, somewhere to go.
Yes.
And then we end the class with everybody checking in. And so different than a meditation app where it's totally passive, you could turn that thing off anytime, nobody would know you left. We have, a community that creates some like gentle accountability. And then, I always say there's something really powerful about just being witnessed and seen. It's just something really powerful about, wow, I'm not the only one who feels this, or maybe I am, but they still didn't judge me. I'm still welcomed into this community. So the classes might look like that. We also have some movement classes that are, it could be Tai Chi movement. We have teachers who do very therapeutic movement. So not quite yoga or stretching, but movements to just move, exercises to move stuck, stored energy.
I love that. Well, I want you to describe what somatic is. Like, what do you call it? Somaticism? Is that a word? Like,
maybe.
What do you call it? Like somatic healing?
Yeah, I do. I call it that. I feel like it's a word that people are hearing a lot these days, because how I understand it and define it is soma is Latin for body, and somatic is sort of the study, the practice of healing the body, connecting mind, body together. So
interesting
versus traditional therapy or traditional healing that's maybe just really up here in the brain and trying to just repattern like the way you think. We're really trying to get the body to also repattern the way that it feels.
Well, I'm just even thinking about, you go to therapy, you talk with someone, that's supposed to be for your mind. Then like when you injure yourself, you go to physical therapy, but they never talk about your...
Right.
I can see how there's like this Chinese wall in between.
When I ruptured my Achilles heel, I asked...
Why did you do that?
Dancing. Oh. It was terrible, but I did it dancing for joy. Anyway, I came down hard on that dance floor and it just popped. But when I asked the doctor, well, what should I eat before the surgery that would like help me to repair the muscles and ligaments and things that I need the best?
Right.
And he's like, well, I don't know, whatever you feel like, as long as you're eating. And then after the surgery, I said, what things should I be eating? Should I be taking antioxidants? What should I be focusing on? And they just were like saltines and 7-Up. I don't,
right. Yes.
No connection. And then, like you said, physical therapy has nothing to do with like the surgeon, and nobody's talking about how are you dealing with the fact that you're not going to walk for 2 months.
Right. Yeah.
And you can't drive and you can't, nobody's asking, how is that all working? And then from that, I had 3 years of things not aligning properly in the body. Yeah. Right. So again, it's like, we're just not talking about how this all works. Right. Until I feel like that is shifting, that is changing. And that's why I think you'll hear that word somatic in lots of different healing modalities, because therapists are really starting to bring this into their office, that they're not just talking with their clients. They're teaching their clients breath work. They're teaching them how they can stop a panic attack by, self-soothing or doing tapping, something that gets them into their body and out of just here.
Right, right. Well, what's interesting is I met this, have you ever heard of this? I guess it's a modality. It's a philosophy. It's called heart math.
Oh, yes, I love it so much. It's very foundational to my work.
That is super cool. So I interviewed one of the founding...
Bruce.
Bruce. And it was so interesting because your heart is sending so much more information to your brain. And I always think of the brain as being the queen bee. And I'm like, no. There are 2 queen bees. There are definitely, and one, and I was very surprised just because it makes so much sense too. I've actually seen it. I saw like a child having a tantrum and the parents trying to reason. And I'm like, oh, no. Like
Yeah.
the reasoning part of their brain is just not
Shut
open
down.
for business at this moment.
Right.
Yeah, it was so interesting. But but he was talking about just how science is just broken into 100 different parts.
Yep.
And everyone has their own special part that they deal with, but no one really, there's no like quarterback mind embodying the whole thing together.
Yeah. And that's why the heart math, their work is so important. I describe it. And of course, Bruce, he might use different language because he's the one who's helping to pioneer the research. But I describe it as the heart, that biofield creates like our spidey sense. And it's what tells us when we walk into a room without having to speak any words, like, I feel safe here. Or it's what, when we jumped on the call, and I know we knew a little bit about each other, but we had an immediate connection, even though we're in two different states, we can feel and sense that this feels in alignment with me. It's what kind of tells us like, I think I should, go left, or I think I, should call that person. I think that it's,
well, I just think it's like when you get like when you have a creepy guy who's like creeping you out and people are like, or you tell someone like, oh my God, that guy's so creepy. And they're just like, oh my God, but he looks so normal. And I'm like, yeah, but you have no idea.
I just feel something.
That's like that sense. Like when you get that sense from someone, like I got to keep my distance. This is not a good person.
As we were talking about when we first jumped on the call, getting older and older, it's so wonderful to listen to that more, because I didn't know any of this information and I wasn't really taught to listen to my intuition or to that feeling of somebody being safe or not safe. So
this concept is so weird, because I literally was just watching a TikTok video about this woman talking about your relationship with money being in your root chakra, and that somewhere like from 0 to 7 years old, you like, it's just I was just like, oh my God, this is so resonant. And it's like not about having more discipline around money or like putting a percentage into like 4 different accounts. It's literally about telling your root chakra you're safe, you're okay.
I was just going to say creating safety. Yeah.
Yeah. That is so interesting to me. So I thought Somatic was like a bunch of women, like a bunch of perimenopausal women.
I'm like, oh, I do that too, though, Heather.
Yes,
I do that too.
But like that they're dancing or something. Like,
so
I know that's all part of it, but like
Somatic for sure. Okay. And so, but a lot of people to get to that. So I like to combine all of it, right? So when I got into this work and started to feel good, and I really got into Reiki is sort of where I started to feel, and again, because that was a somatic, like I could feel the energy instead of just meditating or even teaching yoga. It felt like I was like, I'm home, but I wanted to understand.
Wait, before you go, what were you doing before? What were you doing before you started teaching? I feel like we might have a really good before and after story.
Yeah, right. Yes. Well, and that's probably where some of the party comes in. I was the director of operations for 4 restaurants. And so, a lot of 100 plus employees, 15 managers, 3 owners. And so it was just 24 hours a day, just go, go, go.
Right.
And, I was the most settled I'd ever been at that point, with a serious commitment to this job and to what we were building together. I loved the owners so much. And I think I got paid to go to school, really, because I learned so much and felt really secure about, doing this venture because I was in that position.
Amazing.
But I also got paid in martinis and I drank them and we had a lot of fun, but that was like the extent, like it was like, well, I know how to have a good time. I know how to have tons of fun, but then I still have all this stuff that I'm not dealing with or talking about or feeling.
Right.
I don't feel whole. And so there was a burnout in that job where I was searching and looking for something, wholeness, which led me to yoga, which led me to mindfulness, which led me to Reiki and energy work,
right?
Which then led me to teaching this work, I decided like right away that I was going to open up a yoga studio and have this community space. And then that evolved over time as I did my work into a healing space where, basically it's like, well, what do I want as a teacher? I want a place where I can have classes, I can have a dance party, and I can also lead a meditation class.
Right. Yeah.
A practitioner room. So I basically built what I wanted. And then it just keeps evolving. And so I wanted to understand the science of what I was feeling. And so that led me. So I started teaching Reiki, but it's a 2-day training at most. And then you're just left to go deal
Reiki.
with people.
Go Reiki.
Nobody teaches you about trauma or the things that you might be talking about with your client or seeing or feeling.
Right. Yes.
And so I ended up doing a much longer and extensive year-long earth medicine training, which is like witch school, if you will. So
that is super cool.
So we definitely dance in circles and get wild and do all of that. But then I also I have 2 different courses, Somatic Level 1 and Somatic Level 2, where we go for 10 months in each course and deep dive into your chakras, but also so each one has a complementary module to it. So we talk about the root chakra for a whole month, but then we also talk about our ancestral medicine and your lineage, because that's what's feeling safe. You might have everything you need to feel safe. And for some reason, right, you don't, because we know that epigenetics goes at least 3 generations back, if not more.
Oh, that is so interesting.
So we dive into that. And so it's a 10-month, but we use, so it's like, well, let's understand it. Let's think about it. Let's understand it. And now here's 10 somatic tools you can use to feel into the root chakra and to create safety for yourself, to reparent and then rewire the habits that we have.
Right. Like you're like everything. You remind me of, I worked with a trauma coach. I've done tapping. I also have a client who's a shaman, and you got some shamanic stuff going on there. Then you have heart math. Then you have like somatic and movement and yoga and meditation. So you're like,
and we do
a huge value. Like you don't need like a support team. You just need Hannah Talbot.
Thank you.
She's like 12 healers in one.
I do have a team that works with us. We have amazing teachers that help. So I'm not a total one-man show, but it is all birthed from, again, well, where did I come from and what did I need when I was going through this? When I was trying to find myself, to find that wholeness at whatever stage I was in. And so it'll continue to evolve.
The finding of yourself. You said something that was so interesting to me that really resonated, because when you submitted your information to be a guest on Curveball, you said like you have had moments where you're like so completely turned up in joy. Mm-hmm. And then you also talked about like, I knew how to have fun. And I know that fun and joy is fun. But fun is not always joyful. So can you talk to me about the distinction between and what does it feel like to be in bliss and you're not dreaming or dead in heaven? Like you're just like awake and experiencing it?
I love that.
What? Is that possible?
That embodiment, I think, is what I'm searching for. And I think that most of the people who are in my community are searching for is to let go of any kind of masks, to let go of any kind of fakeness, and to really feel whatever emotions we are. So when we are feeling grief and pain, we really feel it. When we're feeling joy, it's really authentic. Because, like I've always just, since I was 3 years old, maybe younger, right? But I've always been just the life of the party. Just let's have a good time. I can read a room and like, if somebody's, really low energy, I can try to help bring them up. I just like, I'm really, I know how to read people. So it's like, how do we want to have fun? But that's not always me being authentic to me. Do you know? So I was like,
yes,
because again, that's a protection mechanism at 3 years old to go, how do I make sure that everybody's okay? How do I make sure that everybody's, because when we're smiling and we're laughing, we're not experiencing trauma. We're not experiencing crazy. We're not experiencing things that my little self doesn't understand. So how can I just have fun as often as possible? And that, I don't know, there was this emptiness to it, you know, and really it led me to, you know, drugs and alcohol in my, you know, younger years. And that was fun. But the part that I actually loved the best was like towards the end of the night when it's just a few of you still hanging around and you start having those really deep conversations. And I was like, I was just looking for, I probably just needed a therapist, you know, but and so that it wasn't real. And so, or not real.
No, but I get what you mean.
There's like I have
quite a few friends who have stopped drinking because not because they were alcoholics, but they were in that, like, they were just in like, they call it a gray zone, that they were drinking like every day, and then they would have friends that they would go party with. And I know my brother and his wife have friends like this too, that I'm just like, if they stop drinking, they say that they lose all their drinking buddies.
Right. It's like, what do we have in common?
That was it. Yeah. It wasn't, that was the connection.
Yeah.
And I
have some family that's still connection. Like that, right? Where it's, if we removed drinking, we wouldn't know what to do with each other.
Yes, totally.
And and so over the years, I've had to lose some relationships because it doesn't work, because I am looking for real connection and embodied fun. And I'm looking for the people who can hold me again, like in my joy and realness, and not think I'm too much, and hold me in when I'm on the floor in grief or being cracked open by something. So that's, there really is a difference. And I think that I do think that what we're trying to get at is when we're like doom scrolling and you're like, God, I just need one more hit. I just need one more thing to like feel good. One more cat video or something. I was at dinner the other night, and this woman had, I don't know, 3 or 4 children, pretty young ages, and her husband, you know, her partner and her, they're sitting at dinner, and she is just looking at her phone and not engaged whatsoever with her family. And I felt like, sis, like, I am not judging you right now at all, because you're just longing for something more than, you're not feeling met. You're not feeling seen. And so now you're looking for it somewhere else where you're not really getting it either. And so you feel empty. You don't feel whole, and you can't even experience the joyful moments when you really have them, because you're half in it.
Right. Yeah. Like, one of the things that I think is interesting that you said is like, because I've really focused. So last year I found out I had a ruptured brain aneurysm, blah, 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 I had brain surgery, and then like the comeback started. And one of the things I wanted to keep, and it's ironic because I did call it being still, which was just not, I felt like I didn't have anything to prove. Like, I had not one thing to prove. I did not need to be heroic. I didn't need to like fucking run a marathon or a half marathon before my brain surgery, even though I did feel like some societal pressure to do that. But it was in that. So, you know, you make this decision to be still, and then you're like, wow. And I just think my energy was way different too. So stillness was definitely a good thing for me at that point. But I like the idea that I can do something somatically and still have the benefit of meditation too.
And don't get me wrong, like, stillness can look so different for all of us. And that's why I really think having a connection to your body so that you can ask it, what feels good to you? Should we does stillness look like taking a bath? Does stillness look like, to me, my meditation this morning was, I put a meditation on and I was listening to it while my eyes were open and I was drawing my oracle cards. So it's like, this is stillness to me, but I think what I thought stillness meant and had to be was just this.
Yes. Yeah.
And it'll be that too, but it doesn't have to be only that.
Like the only thing, the only way through. But what I thought was interesting is you were like, you know, I've had these moments of like literally experiencing bliss on earth. But then I also created a community of people who can help to pick me up when I'm just like on the floor in grief. And I think it was like when I started to like really focus on, okay, so now that after my surgery, what am I keeping? Like, what am I keeping from this experience in my life? And I definitely wanted to keep things going low and slow and only doing things that really felt in alignment. And so I realized that my alignment voice is much quieter than my inspiration voice, which is loud and a little more predictable because I guess I'm a creative, but it was so interesting. And just because you're on this amazing path, or just because you have sort of cracked the code to being able to find joy, you still have shit happen in your life. Like you still have like, I just lost this piece of business and I was like hugely disappointed because of it. And people are like, oh, it could be replaced. I'm like, no, it won't. That was like a specific thing, but it's like, you try to like, but I just want to say that, yes, I was really disappointed by it. I guess by talking about it too, like I'm still like, it just happened this week.
Yeah.
But I know it doesn't define me. It's not like, I know that this is just something I'm experiencing. And, you know,
and that's the whole point, right? Is to be able to have that awareness. That's what I always tell people. There is no finish line. Like I'm not that meditation teacher who's going to sugarcoat and I'm not that coach who's going to sell you the program that's going to change your life. Because this is, and it's not linear. You know, it doesn't go like this. And we go back to things and re-experience them in new ways based on, you know, the new tools that we have and the lenses that we're looking through at that moment.
Yes.
And the point is to feel life. And so when we're uncomfortable or disappointed, to be real and to not bypass it. But I guess the point of that too is to have awareness so then we can care and tend to ourselves. What do you need? Right. I'm feeling a little extra tender this week and it makes sense. I'm really disappointed. I'm sad. I'm bummed. This is going to affect me. Instead of going, I'm fine. Hey, I'm fine.
Right. Oh, it just makes room for something else. It's like,
it's
a lot of that where no. Yeah. And you literally do not allow yourself to feel the uncomfortable feeling. But the thing is you know that it's just, you know, I was speaking on this panel and they kept on calling it like a season. And I guess that's a good, but it's going to be around as long as you want to give it energy to. I could be where you're just like, wow, okay, shoot. And I literally had this feeling too. Too bad for them.
And that's exactly. And that's,
and I really felt that because I was like, I really feel like, but you know what?
I heard this one author talk about grief, you know, and that in our society, we really don't know how to handle grief, but a lot of emotions, you know, we don't really know how to handle the less desirable emotions. And our jobs in life as humans isn't to figure out how to change them or make them go away. Our job is to actually create capacity for them. Right.
Right.
And so I've been saying to people, you know, there's a really lovely Trevor Hall song where he says, I have everything I need. And he just says that over and over again. I have everything I need. And then one of the lines says, don't be afraid. The fruitful darkness. Don't be afraid of like the fruitful darkness. Right. And it's like the fruitful darkness that in the darkness is where we experience, right, these moments that creates the chasm for the light to come in. You know, if it was just all light all the time, all goodness, all feeling joy all the time, that would be boring as shit.
Right.
You know, and the darkness creates the capacity for us to expand if we let it. So,
right. It just reminds me of this book I read called Hell, which is about hell. And hell is just the worst. Like, it's not like it's like when you're checking into hell and this person's like checking in and they're just like, oh my God, there are all these sand dunes. And you realize it's not sand, it's like fingernail clippings. I'm like, that's so gross. Yes. But the person finally escapes to heaven and is eating like this In-N-Out burger and is like, oh my God, this is like the best tasting burger. Except it was so dull. So he went back to hell, which was just hell. Like
that's so interesting.
Like hell will just make you like, so like, this is an example. So Ernest Hemingway, everyone's in hell because heaven is evidently so boring. So people choose hell. So Ernest Hemingway is in hell and someone sets him up on a computer and he literally writes his opus. Like, he's like, oh my gosh, I literally wrote the best thing. And every single day his computer crashes and he loses everything he's just written. And I'm like, oh, hell, you're so hell.
Oh yeah. My gosh, is it funny? To me, it sounds kind of.
Oh, yes. It's like by that author. His name is Chuck Puhulicek or something like that. He wrote the book called Fight Club.
Oh, too, right.
Yeah, so
this sounds good. This sounds like a good movie.
Does he just come up with this, or does he have to take a little peyote? Like,
yeah, right.
Just a little.
He's got to get a little off his rocker. Totally.
Sometimes the concepts you're just like,
yeah, there's no way you're just thinking this.
Like,
yeah.
What? How? Yeah, it was really, that's amazing.
I love that.
So for someone who's feeling like maybe they're feeling disconnected from their body, or maybe they've just been like, they just have become a skeptic of mindfulness because they feel it's too passive or they feel like they're not doing it right. What's one small physical thing that they can do to like reconnect? Maybe even while they're listening to this.
Generally when I like teach a corporate team or I'm teaching a classroom, I call it the ABC method: awareness. Can you even ask yourself, what am I feeling? Because a lot of what am I feeling and where do I feel it? A lot of us don't even slow down enough for that, right? Just what do I even need?
No, because I don't even know, like, I'm actually thinking about that. And I'm just thinking, I broke my foot. I just got out of my boot like a few days ago. And my body is just like in that boot. You're just like, it's not even the actual injury. It's like the way your body adjusts
totally
to the healing. And so I'm just I don't even know what I should be thinking about. What do I feel? Like, oh, I feel a little tightness in my shoulders. Yep. I feel like my back, I feel warm. Like, is that the kind of stuff I want to be thinking about?
And sometimes I use like the five senses. What am I smelling? What am I tasting? Because right. And and you literally get to say that I smell my dog. I smell like last night's dinner in the garbage. I smell roses. I smell like my,
I can smell my husband is for sure making toast.
Yes.
Like, or I'm having a stroke right now.
And so
isn't that one of the signs?
I can't remember.
If you, I think it's like if you smell
that's
toast,
a terrible one to
like
tell
burning
people.
Toast. I know.
I just burnt 3 pieces last week.
Wow.
But when you are naming those senses and you are like, well, I smell toast, we're already we've sort of like diffused a little of whatever intensity you might be feeling or disconnection. It's like, well, now I'm in the moment. You can't name your 5 senses and not be in the moment. For me, when I name them, I usually get through 3 and then I'm like, oh, toast. Toast is good. Should I have toast? I wonder if he's putting butter on the toast. What bread is he using? That bread's stale, And then you're like, oh shit, wait, 5 senses, right? And then we go back to it. So it's kind of like a little game. But for me, breath is my favorite. And really, it's the quickest way to get in to activate the nervous system and get the parasympathetic going into our rest and digest. So just noticing your breath, right? How am I breathing? When's the last time I took a deep breath? My favorite is, can I make my inhales and exhales even? That's just an easy one you can do anywhere.
Right.
I have several breath works that I love that are just quick. A double sniff breath is like a quick inhale through the nose twice and then an exhale out the mouth. It's like,
That is such a good one. I did that with my niece. I was putting her down to bed and she was having none of it. And I was like, oh no, like how, and normally like when there's another parent there, you have this austerity just because like you're just visiting from out of town. And no, she was still not having any of it. And so I told her, I said, I need for you, because I have friends who teach breathwork for children. And I said, I want you to pretend like we're holding a rose. We're taking
a huge
big smell of it. And then I said, and then I want you to pretend like you're blowing out a birthday cake with like 20 candles. And so we did that, and it was absolutely incredible to see.
Because like I was just saying, when they're like, they can't start reason thinking when their body is having a reaction, right? Like you said,
like literally the front part of their brain is like sending all the energy to the survival part. Like it's something that's what I think is so interesting when parents try to reason with an upset child. Right. Like I just sort of knew not to do it just because I was like, nothing's going to come from this. But now I understand brain-wise what's happening.
Yeah.
It's really pretty amazing.
Yeah. And so those like, and just touching your body, right? Just like, where do this is just havening is one of my favorites. This is all these we could talk about for 30 to 40 minutes each, what havening is and why it works. But this kind of touch is just super soothing, and you can teach it to a 1-year-old to give themselves a hug and to rub like this. But it feels like a swaddle. And that double sniff breath, it always reminds me of the end of a cry when you're like,
yes,
but it's like the body knows that I'm unwinding. This is over now. We're winding the tantrum down. And so there's this, like I said, those two together, there's something that feels very just comforting all the way down to your littlest self.
That is absolutely amazing. Hannah Talbot, you have taught me things about meditation and somatic movement and healing that I have never heard once in my life. And I really believe like I would consider myself like sort of on that journey, like paying attention to that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I love having this new, deeper, different perspective. Yeah. Like that there just isn't just one way of doing things. And it's just like, thank goodness, because I'm just like, I can't do Kundalini. I'm going to get too much bronzer on my clothes. Like I already know that's out. So we got to figure out like some other way.
And that's it. And it's like, maybe when I always being like culturally appropriate, right? That we name where things come from and use practices that are open to be used. But I think that we can dabble, that's part of being a modern human now, is that we have access to so much. And so if something feels good to you, for me, yoga was like it for me. And then it was breath work. And then it was this. Yeah. So if you want to change it up, change it up.
Yeah, you're not like I'm trying to figure out, well, what's interesting is, I still have some interesting coordination issues from my brain recovery. And I've been, and I realized like just only a few weeks ago, I'm trying to go back to how I was doing things before this really started to affect my body. And when I was in Costa Rica at this retreat, we had a yoga instructor who was doing gentle yoga. And I would rather not do yoga than not do Bikram yoga. But I was like, I'll go. Yep. And I loved the gentle yoga. So I'm going to start doing Tai Chi.
Right. And you're like,
because I'm like, that's going to be, and then I'll see. Yep. Because it's like the whole body. It's going to be so good for my coordination. It's going to be gentle. Like I don't have to go back and hit everything so hard to
that's one of my favorite meditations to do, right? Because it is exactly like you said, it's quiet. It is that stillness. You're totally connected to the moment and the elements and to earth and to your, again, essence, spirit, your chi, your energy, your life force.
Yes.
And that's what you're moving around. And you don't have to be statue still, but you'll find often once you move that energy, that a moment or several minutes or 20 minutes of stillness feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So people want to work with you, or they're in Spokane and they want to come to one of your classes.
Yeah.
How
so
can people connect with you, like in person or virtually?
Yeah. So if you pop on our website, anamkarahealing.center, then you'll find all of our different offerings because, like I said, we do retreats. We also do corporate trainings that are virtual and in person, and we travel and go to lots of places. So we're always up for coming to people or them getting to work with us virtually. Our daily classes are virtual as well. And then, of course, if you're ever in the Spokane area, by all means, come here. We were named the best place for wellness and relaxation in the city. And it's
amazing.
A really gorgeous space right in downtown Spokane, just a block and a half from the river. So we love being here.
Oh my gosh, Hannah Talbot, it was a pleasure to have you on Curveball. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Heather.